Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day. This is Cody Robinson. I'm the founder of HomeFit Personal Training. I'm here with Katie Sparks and David Puglisi, a couple of amazing people that are part of our HomeFit family. Here in just a second, I'll probably let you guys tell a little bit about your background, just kind of briefly. But what we wanted to do today was actually like re-engage the support system that we can provide for our followers, actually enhance the educational pieces that we have. There's so many trends out there now, and we know the fitness world can get kind of noisy, but we want to make sure that we speak to what we constantly hear from our clients and our communities of how can we be a better service and be really just a sounding board to try and help navigate your health and fitness. But Katie, if you will, feel free to kind of jump in just for a second. Let us know kind of what you have going on with HomeFit and a little bit of your background in the fitness industry too.
Absolutely. Like Cody said, my name is Katie Sparks. I actually have been here with HomeFit for over 2.5 years now, as operations manager, working really closely with our personal trainers. And just, my background in fitness kind of started, on the online group, working with moms, and busy things like that. I kind of found the love for fitness on my own journey. I was kind of going through that hamster wheel of like, what works, kind of feeling alone. And then just kind of really sparked that flame in me, I guess, of like, okay, how can I help more people realize that, we got to get down to the basics, and if I can do it, as a mom of 3, then everybody else can. So it kind of has just evolved from there, and just, I'm certified personal trainer, but obviously, working here, just trying to help our trainers and our clients and everything else. So that's me in a nutshell.
Love it. All right. What about you, David? Your turn.
Yeah, so I joined the HomeFit team probably in October of this past year, coming from being a personal training director in Vero Beach, Florida, and then moving to Birmingham, where I manned that region for HomeFit for all the in-home and online coaching. But that's been my favorite aspect of actually going to people's homes when they're the most comfortable and being able to train them in a way that they don't have to be worried about the outside noise and people looking at them and feeling weird, because probably the most beneficial moves make you look the dumbest. So it's really nice to be able to do that in the privacy of your own home. So it's been awesome to be a part of the team.
I love it. I appreciate you both and being willing to jump on here. In case any of you don't know me, I started HomeFit back in 2013. We've specialized in working with just people who are extremely busy. Foundationally, we have always come to the home. We provide the equipment. We do all the training on site, just like David said. But we have continued to expand our reach because people are everywhere, and our tagline is eliminating barriers to healthy living. And so we've rolling out a new app, and we do virtual and online coaching as well. But what I absolutely love is the fitness industry itself is it gets bigger every year. It gets noisier every year, and sometimes it can get more confusing. And what I love about HomeFit is the fact that no matter how wild it gets, the personal touch is what there's still so many people out there need and want. They want the personal accountability. They want somebody who's in their corner that understands their lifestyle and not necessarily come in and just beat them down, but help them really understand how to navigate, what's going on. If you are a busy parent or if you're an executive or an entrepreneur, we understand that your lifestyles are not the traditional method of, get up at 6 a.m., just eat chicken and broccoli, like the stuff that you've heard for so many years. I think education and the people out there, like our team, really have the capacity to be able to align with and understand the lifestyles of who we work with and help you conform to it and help you embrace it and help you not be so overwhelmed by gaining, your quality of life back. So anyway, but like I said, what we really wanted to kind of jump into today is really what some of the trends that we have seen for 2023. There's been a lot of things come and go since COVID, and I feel like it was kind of timely to tap into some of these. And then as we wrap up, we have some ideas of how we want to encourage you, you guys that's listening, of how to succeed in 2024. Because I think a lot of us have learned lessons in a lot of ways the last couple of years. But we'll kind of start, we put together kind of a small list prior to going live. And I think I would probably just go down the order, but we can bounce around however you guys want to. But Katie, you kind of mentioned first about you started to see a little bit of a shift in busy moms and kind of their acceptance of that they can actually still get in their workouts. They can have a good balance versus the stress of what it used to feel like If you want to elaborate on that, you can. Then David, we can piggyback on any of where Katie goes.
Yeah, absolutely. When I started, just coaching and training, moms, that was the biggest thing is like, well, how do I develop this into a lifestyle? And that, that's been like the biggest key, word that I use with them is like, it's a lifestyle, it's how you're going to fit these pieces in. It's not how fitness is going to, change you or different things like that. It's how can you fit it in and fit it in your time. And so I think a lot of times, busy parents, we can put dads in this as well because they're busy just as much. They're hauling those kids around and they're doing those things too, just as much as those moms. But at the end of the day, when I've had those conversations, with the moms, it's we have so many to-do lists, and we put ourselves way at the bottom. And so it's like, okay, how can we intertwine and just kind of move ourselves up on that? Well, instead of, the biggest thing is like we talked about before, are we going to the gym for an hour? No, can we fit in 20 to 30 minutes, while the baby is napping? Or, can we fit in that 20 to 30 minutes after we've dropped off our kids to school? Just fitting those pieces into you, and looking across the board, like how can you show your children, that this is something that they should do too, because, we're here to show them, how the world is, and how we should be living lives and different things like that. And so, getting your children involved has always been the biggest thing too, is that I tell moms is like, and it becomes a mental thing, it's just like, okay, I cannot pour from that empty cup anymore. So I need to fulfill myself first. And, talking back to, when I first started, my whole fitness journey, that's where I was like at the lowest of low in my life. I moved from a big city into a small town. I had zero friends, and then COVID hit, and it was like, what do I do from here? And so it was just like kind of pushing myself to do those things and realizing that there was a community of people who felt the exact same way I did, and just showing them, okay, like we can take these basics and we can put it into our life and we can still enjoy the things, going to a kid's birthday party and different things like that. And so I just think that was like the biggest shift I saw is like, okay, we're going to scratch the hour of somebody coming to my house or, going to the gym. It's the 20 to 30 minutes, is it that online community? Is it that in-home personal trainer that's coming in? Are we including our kids into different things? And so that's really where I kind of wanted to touch on just seeing moms and dads in general, kind of moving through that.
I mean, I think it's awesome because, like you said, the options are definitely there more so than ever. And if, I definitely encourage people, any moms or parents in general, to reach out to you, Katie, for sure, with any advice or direction on that. But David, you said you've seen the shift in your own house, with a new one entering in there. But what's some things that you've kind of seen in the world of fitness and parenting?
Yeah, I appreciate Katie bringing up the dads because my life certainly has changed in these 14 months. So to go with what Katie was talking about, one of my favorite things is seeing my son mirror what Alexander is doing. So when yes, have your time to train and prioritize yourself when your child is asleep and napping, but sometimes there's an amazing benefit to see your child connect the dots on movement and health, and just seeing mom put health as a foundation in the home. So when Alexandra is taking a class and she's doing her, whether it's something that she's just come up with on her own, very rarely will I write her something because I know my role, and I like being married, so I'm gonna keep my distance. But there's times where she will be taking a class and Luca will be right next to her doing the same motions that she is, and you're just seeing so much neurological connection and development that's so healthy for him that sometimes the moms need to get a mental shift of, I'm not just taking care of me, this actually is taking care of my child because of all the connections and the health that you're promoting by him or your daughter being a part of that training experience.
That's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. It's exciting to hear, and it's always good for people to know that we're all trying to navigate it, and then it just, it's, you have the opportunity to be able to kind of define what works best for you. And I think what I do like too, I think another trend is people are being more accepting of the fact that they can actually verbalize that they don't necessarily know exactly how to fit this thing in. I think a lot of people have always had the pressure of just, I need to figure it out. I need to be the best one out there. And this facade of we've got it all put together, where with how the world has shifted so much, I think that being more transparent, with each other, and seeing if you need help or if you, I don't know. I'm just thinking, it just kind of triggered a little bit of that. It's something I've kind of learned this year, that, being willing to kind of say, hey, I need some guidance in this, or I think I have it figured out, but could you help me, navigate how to really incorporate more stuff with my child or my spouse. No, I love it. So in that vein, when it came, Katie, you were mentioning a little bit more about, kind of online community and how, there's more and more options for parents or people in general to connect. But I know you and David both were talking prior of how we've actually started seeing um, more of these, like I said, online communities kind of coming together to support and be a support system. Um, David, do you want to start anywhere specific to how to leverage like what we've seen in online communities as far as across the board and how people can, tap into those if they need that sense of kind of a group, vibe,
Mhm.
actual tribe. I'll let you start there if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, we were seeing different trends in your community. So the CrossFit has always had that community feel, but that's not always an in-person experience. So I think there's been a lot of companies, whether it's in the training methods that they're using or the certifications that they're offering, but with every Con Ed and everything that you're stepping into, there's always going to be that community of other trainers or other people that are taking that same course. So that way they're all kind of like-minded, they're trying out things in the same way, and you start to just get a natural back and forth, and you're organically building this community without distance being a factor. So I kind of see that more in the trends of online fitness, in the sense that they're doing things at home, so there's really not a whole lot of interaction going on. So these companies that are, whether it's HomeFit or whoever that has this platform in place, they're providing a space that people can interact with one another.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't realize you were going to kind of pull it together as far as our fitness trend. That was always my vision and intention, which is why I'm glad we're getting back to it for HomeFit, is to be that, like that platform and that partnership, and to have a sense of community and support and cross education for our entire network, to be able to move forward. Because it's like you said, a lot of times in a gym setting, you do get to kind of build a deeper camaraderie. Um, and so heading into this next year, I'm excited about us being just enhancing that collective and supporting each other. Because in the service industry, I think a lot of times people don't, they do, but maybe they don't stop and think. We give so much of ourselves, and because we are so servant hearted, but which also means we definitely need our own support system, to be able to get through our stressors, and how do we continue to be the best practitioners we can be, while also maintaining the right type of mental health. So I love that plug for sure. Katie, when it comes to the online community, on the more of the consumer side or the client side, is that something you were kind of speaking to earlier about how you can see whether it's just parents or whoever tapping into that a little more?
Yeah, definitely. I think just because, sometimes, we have, we can go back to like, how COVID, brought in a lot of work from home jobs and different things like that, or the, the busy professional is, doing all those tasks and all those things. And sometimes you kind of feel lost in your own ways, and just like having that community of somebody who is going to be, understanding those frustrations, or, what is going on in your life. And, I think everybody thinks of like fitness just as overall like losing weight or becoming, the next biggest, bodybuilder or whatever it might be. But it also comes back to like, how are you feeling internally? How are you feeling mentally? And, is that reaching out to somebody who is like-minded, and, as a personal trainer, we are able to understand those different things that are you're handling, and so I think it helps people talk. I don't know if I kind of answered that question a little bit of in a whirlwind, but, just having that community of people, as a mom, I know that's important for me, is just having somebody who understands, the different things I'm going through, because, we're taxi drivers, we're going to the next sporting event and different things like that. And so how do we fit in the time for ourselves, and understanding that somebody's going through the exact same thing?
Yeah, it makes sense. I appreciate you sharing that. I definitely think if y'all can kind of take note as we wrap up here in a few minutes on the and push to heading into 2024, we won't shift there yet, but if you have any ideas or recommendations on, there might be people out there that are looking for like communities, but where can they go to find, these types of communities? And if it doesn't exist, maybe we have to create them, as a HomeFit brand, which we're happy to do. So I love it. Okay, thank you all for sharing that on the online kind of engagement and community enhancement. It's just cool to hear both perspectives of the fitness professional and the consumer. But then we also kind of talked about, and David, you had a great point, because I was, we were talking through different ones, but so many people have gone virtual and have gone, online, but I mean, just as much as people actually gotten the screen fatigue, like you mentioned, and they're really trying to get back into their in-person community. I'll let you, if you're open to it, kind of jump back into that vein of what you've seen kind of shifting back into the, the group kind of in-person setting.
Yeah, and I think that the biggest thing is with so much free content, whether it's different apps or looking at the latest TikTok videos, Instagram videos, you're finding a lot of workouts and exercises that can get you sweating and could be beneficial for you, but it's not true training. There's no true programming to it, and really that's what people are missing with a lot of those online programs, to where it's where we were talking about screen fatigue, where they're tired of looking at a screen for one, and they want that human to human touch. But it's also because of that personalization that you get with a person that can actually see what your body is doing in a move, see that there's some imbalances, see that there's a correction that needs to take place. And that's where programming and true professionalism in this industry comes from. It's not just, hey, I saw this really cool move, let's do this today. I know we can get excited about those moves, and our clients do too, because they like the novelty of them. But as long as it's within a context and a bigger picture, I think that's where people really see the benefit of that person-to-person contact.
That makes sense. What about you, Katie? Anything that you're kind of seeing? Do we think gyms are going to continue to do well moving forward? Like, what do y'all think in regards to the in-person, not just the one-to-one, but the actual group atmosphere?
Yeah, I think, just working like with, my in-home client, I actually, show up to her, and she's always said like the biggest thing is like the accountability process of it. Sure, we can go buy, a gym membership, but are we going to continue to show up? Because that accountability is going to be the biggest piece of it, and like she works in a huge, busy corporation. And so like she doesn't want to be around a bunch of people all the time, and you think about those people that are timid to go to the gym, because there are other people. And like you said, we look the silliest, sometimes when we are doing those basic moves and different things like that. And so I just think looking back on like how the year has gone, just with my in-home clients, it's just that accountability piece of it. Because I know I've been told, several times, I would never continue doing something like this if it wasn't for you showing up. Like, I know you're going to be knocking at my door, and I know you're going to be here, and I know you're going to make me sweat, and I know you're going to do the things that I don't want to do. Because sometimes you'll look at a workout and you'll be like, yeah, I'd rather not do that move, but you have that person who's there that's going to show you like, okay, like, yes, we're going to do this. It's going to stink in the time being, but we're going to see the benefits of it. So I just think that in home, it brings that huge accountability, personalization, and just seeing how, things are going, in that huge connection. We talked about like the online community having that, connection through, people too, but just having that one-on-one with somebody can be so different as well.
Somebody made an appearance.
That's fine. Say if he wants. No, it's a great point. Thanks for sharing that, Katie. Yeah, it's definitely, we are definitely seeing more and more people reaching out to us as this year kind of, with everything that's happened on with the pandemic, and people are really, I think, accepting the fact that there are so many options out there. I think one thing we were talking about a little bit earlier too, and I'll kind of rope it in and kind of wrap this segment up, is yeah, the person-to-person engagement is huge for so many people. And sometimes, the online is there for people that really just can't find balance at the moment, and they're trying, or if it's just easier if they travel due to work or things like that, to be a part of the online. But there are a lot of options still for the in-person. And for the community standpoint, as we were talking about kind of screen fatigue earlier, if somebody's a runner, or if they want to get back to F45 or a CrossFit gym or a local gym, I mean, honestly, personally, it has been nice to see that people have, weathered the storm and are getting back to the point of they really can go back to these collectives and rebuild their community. I think the biggest, and then again, the in-home stuff is definitely available for people that just want more isolated time. We have plenty of clients that will train with us, a couple of days a week, but they'll still go to a group setting, whether it's a run club or whether it's just a HIIT training class. In addition, we customize the workouts based around those things so they stay efficient. Or even I have clients who are golfers, so their community is around the golf. I think the bottom line, I think the biggest takeaway that we'd all kind of agreed on was the fact that there are more options now than ever. There's more education now, more educational readily available things for people to find. But I think the trend, and this is what we're going to encourage for next year, is I think more and more people are accepting whatever's best for them. I think for so many years, and y'all definitely feel free to add to or take away, but I think there's been so many years of the trend pushes, or so many people around. It's like, oh, you need to jump on this, or you need to come to CrossFit with me, or you need to be doing faster way to weight loss, or you need to do in-home training. There's just a lot of people who have been pushed, try to encourage, but also really try to kind of push them to do what's the coolest thing at the moment. But I think the biggest takeaway is we're starting to see more and more people. It's okay to say, this is what I want to do, and this is what I think is best to my lifestyle, is to do this. And don't feel like you're going to ruffle somebody's feathers for you making the choice to do what health and wellness option is best for you. But if y'all want to expand on that, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Who's first? Dave first.
Okay, I'll go first. No, just to agree with you, I think that hybrid model of doing in person, or doing in home rather, having their group training session, and then even kind of that blend of online. A lot of my clients, I'll send them through our app the training session that we did that day, so that they get the online component to where if they want to do those exercises again, keep practicing those moves, being really confident in it, they have access to what we did. And I think there's so much insecurity in fitness that we're so worried about passing them on to another person, or they're going to like them more, or if I give them too much of, like, if I give them the program that we did, then they won't need me anymore. There's just so much of that we lose sight of actually putting the person first. And we just see them as dollar signs. And I think the biggest thing is, you're there, you're hired, yes, but you were there to be the personal side of things. It's not just the training plan. So I think as long as trainers are educating themselves and they are confident in their abilities to provide a benefit to this client, then I think that's also going to set the stage for what that client experiences.
That's awesome. That's a great way to pull it all together, to see, even like you said, it does not have to be isolated to one. It can be a collective, and it should be if you have access to it. But what about you, Karen? What are you feeling as far as people being willing to accept what they feel is best for them?
Yeah, I mean, David hit the nail on the head there. It was like, okay, yep, took all the words out of my mouth. But just, thinking back to, sometimes, as thinking from a personal trainer standpoint, we are kind of selfish, we don't want to give them all the answers, but then that same day, if you give them all the answers, give your client everything that they need, give them the package that they need, to be successful, then your job is you did your job. You did what you were supposed to do at the end of the day. If they are confident to walk in the gym or do these workouts in their home by themselves, we did our job. Pat yourself on the back, great job. Hopefully you get good word of mouth from that, because that's what we want them to be. We want them to be successful. We don't want them to run off to the next trend and do different things like that. And so I just think pulling it all together is just realizing that fitness doesn't have to be the next biggest trend. I mean, obviously we're talking through different trends and different things and what we saw, but we don't have to scroll through, TikTok or Instagram and different things like that to find the next best workout. You need to figure out, as a human, what is going to work best for you? What is going to be, how are you going to work that into your lifestyle? Are you a busy mom? Are you a busy dad? Are you just a busy entrepreneur? Different things like that. Or are you just trying to figure out the ways of, how does fitness work? And how can I get this to work for me? And so bringing that personalization back and just realizing that, you don't have to go do CrossFit just because your best friend does it, and you're not going to hurt their feelings by saying, hey, this really isn't for me, as long as you're looking back at the basics, and just getting through the basics of it. And that's just really what fitness boils down to, is just the boring old basics that nobody wants to do.
That's a great point. And really, just like you said, it's okay. People are going to support you with whatever decision they make. They want you to be better. And so I think that's the thing is, don't be afraid of, encourage you. Don't be afraid that people are going to balk if you don't choose the option that they want. They're going to continue support. As we kind of wrap it up, and we can spend, a few more minutes kind of transitioning to the trends that we've seen and what we want to encourage people for, in order to succeed in 2024. But Katie, since I have you, I'll kind of go down the list, and we'll probably we'll wrap up with David's point that he wanted to make too. But first, Katie, you were talking about heading into the new year, taking it piece by piece. You definitely encourage trying to prevent the burnout, the overwhelm, all that part. So we'll start there, and then after that we'll transition to kind of David's point about, overcoming the hamster wheel, actually, choosing what you've seen that hasn't worked and how to shift from there. But let's start with a piece by piece portion heading into the new year, Katie.
Yeah, I think, it's the time of year where everybody's setting those New Year's resolutions, and they think of like these big goals, how can they be successful? We live in a fast-paced world, and so everybody wants all those quick results, and how can I do this? And you end up into the overwhelming part, just even, speaking from a mom standpoint, like, you don't want to pick something that's going to be so overwhelming and that you can't handle it, because chances are you're not going to finish it. And so just, looking back at the basics, and just figuring out, is it, are we waking up a little bit sooner to get that workout in, or are we getting our children involved in it? Or, what is it that you really want to accomplish out of this, and just figure out how that piece is going to work for you. Back to that personalization, not finding the next biggest trend that is, wrapping up on TikTok and how you're going to get yourself sweaty for 20 minutes or whatever it is, like going back to the basics and just realizing I can take one goal and start developing those habits, just continually. So that's just kind of like my tidbit on like how to not overwhelm, and not to, when you set that New Year's resolution, not to just drop off in that first week because something didn't go as planned.
Cody, you're silent.
I was muted. Sorry, I was gonna say, feel free to elaborate if you want on that, David, and then if there's anything you want to add to that. It's the piece by piece portion, or no?
Yes. Yes, I just got distracted for a second. Yes, what Katie sparked was that all-in mentality. And we think we have this desire to follow a set of rules. And we think that if we have exactly what we're supposed to do, that we're gonna be successful all the time. But time and time again, we miss. Like, we're actually not that great at following rules because we want to rebel against that. So I think when you start to make your New Year's resolutions, yes, be smart about them, be realistic about them, but also just set yourself up for success, knowing that you're not going to hit it 10 out of 10. But put yourself in a situation to where if you need that accountability partner, find a free buddy. If you want to hire a hand, we're available for you. But just do what hasn't worked, whatever hasn't worked in the past. This isn't your first New Year's. So we understand that the trends are, hey, you make it 3 days. Hey, you made it a week and a half. That's fantastic. Keep it going. But have some self-reflection and awareness of where are you missing, and getting someone to be professional in this that can handle the nuance of your situation, make it personalized for you so that you can be successful with it. Because if you have the all-in approach, as soon as one obstacle gets in your way, which is bound to happen, you're going to be off the trail again. So I think just having that person-to-person feedback is so vitally important. And that's why, whether it's an online community or someone in person, it is so beneficial to have someone in your corner to help keep you accountable while also adjusting to how your body is. Because a lot of times people go so full on that they hurt themselves. And then, just naturally, they just take some time to recover. And then it's really hard to get back into it. So just like with Katie, just starting slow, being step by step with it, but just giving yourself some grace so that you can complete the marathon and not just the sprint.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I appreciate you really reiterating that, hitting that home. I think you said something earlier too that was fascinating, and like you said, really, I think it's funny that you said this is not your first New Year for a lot of these people. So being able to think back, like you said, what hasn't worked, or knowing yourself. That's the thing too. A lot of people think, they see the trend that's happened every year, and they try to overcome that same trend versus like doing something different, or like you said, having the humility to reach out to somebody that wants to help. And there are a lot of us out there that are not going to beat you down and beat you into the ground. Like, we genuinely want you to be heard. We want you to be seen. We want you to know that there's plenty of us out there that care and want to build something specific to you and give back, to what you deserve, because everybody deserves to have a healthy lifestyle. And that's the unfortunate thing is that there's just so many things out there that confuses people. But the fortunate thing is, like, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of people out there that definitely care. Anything else? Any kind of takeaway? Any final thoughts that you want to throw out there to the people listening at us today?
I had one thing, as we were just kind of sitting here talking, and that at the end of what David said is, it was so funny because like I use this a lot, you know, as I'm working with like my in-home clients or, you know, just that online community, is that it is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I was like, when he said that, I was like, man, us personal trainers think the same. It was like, wait a minute, I use that saying all the time. But it's true, you know, and so when they're thinking about, you know, those 2024 goals, and like he said, it's not your first New Year's, you know, did you set kind of that same weight loss goal last year or whatever it was, and reflect on that. Like, how did it go wrong? You know, where were you all in and then said, these are too many pieces, you know, I don't like to follow all these rules. But just at the end of the day, it's a marathon, it is not a sprint. So how can we get through those day-to-days? We're going to have bad days, we're going to have good days, and it's just going to, at the end of the day, we're going to be able to reflect on those things and then just keep continuing with, you know, whatever goal that is, and just having that accountability of having somebody check in on you, you know, and saying like, hey, how are you doing today? You know, did you get 2 of the things done that we talked about, or whatever it is, you know? And so just going back to those basics, so it just made me giggle when you're like, yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I was like, yes.
That's a great point. Yeah, you made me think too about the like habit tracking or things like that. There's a lot of systems and tools out there or people that can help you with getting the consistency on those. But anyway, David, anything you want to add to the conversation before we wrap up?
Yeah, just really be hopeful. You know, going into the new year, have a hopeful expectation for what you're going to be able to accomplish, whether you do it by yourself or you do it with others. Just because something didn't work in the past doesn't mean that this year is going to be the same. So just expect positive results from all the steps that you're taking and just see it happen.
I love that. Katie, I definitely want us to try and use that some, like be hopeful. You know, so many people, you come in the new year and it's like, new year, new you, new year, new year. Like you're going to see that a million times you turn your head, but going into it with that, man, that's awesome. Like be hopeful. That's something I'm going to carry into 2024. Well, cool. Well, all right. Well, thank you guys again for this. Again, anybody that's listening, if there's anything we can do for you, feel free to comment wherever you actually, you know, hear or watch this video. We'll get back to you the best that we can. We want to be a resource for you. So we've got a lot of options for as a company, but at the end of the day, we want to serve what's best for you. So if you need to try and find online communities, local gyms, whatever, happens all the time that people reach out to us and we try to get you connected. So let us please be your resource. And yeah, thank you guys for your time. I know you're super busy, kind of trying to wrap up this year and get everything together, but this is something we definitely want to continue moving forward across the board and just be for this next year and definitely be a go-to resource for so many people. So anyway, hope you guys all have a great day.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks.